Hello, Brad. You know what? I don't have an intro. Give me 1 second, and I will have it. Coming up, we talk sex with aliens, plus a new exoplanet discovered, spotted over the skies of North Carolina. Around to find out, plus our picks and warnings. First, our question. Question is, hang on 1 second. What would be a good question for tonight? Question. Okay. What alien do you think is the ugliest in film and or TV? Okay. All right. We're live, right? I think we're live. Are you there?
Yes. Are you there?
I'm here.
Excellent.
And we're live. All right, let's start. Let's actually start the show. Here we go. Welcome to the Alien Invasion number 248, recorded on Thursday, September 20th, 2018. I'm Dave Nelson, along with Mr. Brad Ludwig. Hello, Brad.
Hello.
Coming up, we talk sex with aliens. It's an R-rated episode. Plus, a new exoplanet discovered. What was spotted over the skies of North Carolina? No, not the hurricane. Stick around to find out. Plus, our picks and warnings. But first, our question. That's a call to order, is what that was. What, Brad, what alien do you think is the ugliest in film and or TV? The ugliest alien that you've ever seen on a screen. What is it, Brad?
You know what? The John Carpenter's It.
Oh yeah, you. You're right.
As it would transition from its different forms.
Oh. Okay. Any other reason why? You know what? What part of that movie scared you the most? The original one, not the remake from a couple years ago.
No. The John Carpenter's.
Yeah, no. Yeah. That's what I meant. John Carpenter, The Thing. What did I say?
You said not the remake from a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Okay. So what part of John Carpenter's The Thing scared you the most?
When they had one of the guys in the in the med bay, and the doctor went to, because they thought he was having a heart attack, and they went to use the paddles on him, and his chest opened up and ate his arms.
Oh yeah. You know what? I think they were trying to outdo. Which movie came first? John Carpenter's The Thing or Alien? The first Alien.
I want to say the first Alien.
So maybe John Carpenter was trying to out-scare Alien, because it seems that way. That sounds like an Alien type of scene.
Let's say son of a gun. There we go. 80s. Let's see. The Thing. Oh, for Pete's sake. The Thing was 1982. Yep, Alien was 1979. So
okay. So,
but
The thing.
It was a kind of a remake of a 1948 film.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So really, it was way before. When you really think, if you want to put it that way, it's way before.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna kind of go with Alien because we were talking about it, and the alien, the xenomorphs from Alien are ugly. I mean, I think they've stepped it up. Each movie they've made them uglier and uglier. Don't you think?
Kinda, yeah.
Especially the one, I think it's the queen or whatever, is the head inside the head or inside the mouth that comes out. That that is freaky and that is very, very ugly.
Mhm.
What was the scariest part of Alien for you, the original movie? This is question.
I think it was the jump scare of, uh yeah, it was the jump scare of, geez, now I can't remember the dude's name. John Hurt, when he, like, leaned over the egg and the
Oh yeah.
and the face hugger, like, shot out of the egg.
Yeah.
Yeah, that freaked me out the first time. Absolutely.
Okay, so listeners, it's up to you now. What is the ugliest alien you think you've seen? Let us know. Alien at gncasts.com. No, actually, it's aliens. Excuse me. Aliens at gncasts.com. That is our email address. Let us know what you think is the ugliest alien ever. All right, let's get into the news. I'm first, so here we go. Brad, Christmas
Yeah,
is coming.
it is.
So I think I've got the perfect gift for the reader on your list, the book lover on your list. You ready for this?
I am listening.
It's called Screwed by the Aliens: True Sexual Encounters with ETs.
Well, that's something.
Yeah, it is something. It's a book all about the history and the I guess the history and experiences, stories of people being forced to, in some cases, others not so much, to have sexual intercourse with extraterrestrials. Remember,
Huh.
remember that story that we had a while ago? It was the guy that was painting he'd had sex with this one alien, this female
Yes.
alien during his entire life, and he was painting what he remembered from it.
Yes.
Yeah. He's in this book.
I don't doubt that.
Yeah. So let me read a little bit of the story. It came from metro.co.uk. No surprise there. There's a lot of them out there, with some claiming that aliens disguise themselves as celebrities to have sex with gullible humans. Other aliens have even forced human victims to have sex with animals, says Nigel Watson, author of a chapter, just one chapter, in the newly released book, Screwed by the Aliens: True Sexual Encounters with ETs. Watson told metro.co.uk that the first documented sexual encounters with aliens happened in the 1950s, but that before this, people often claimed to have sex with demons in encounters which sound very similar and which stretch back for centuries. So, what they really could be, the demons could have been aliens, and these people didn't know. That's what he was trying to say.
Huh.
Watson, author of the UFO Investigations Manual, which looks really interesting. I think we'll have a link to it in the show notes. He says the first case of sexual conduct in our flying saucer era was experienced by Antonio Villas Boas, B-O-A-S, Boas, in South America. Boas claimed in 1957 that he was dragged inside a flying saucer and forced to have sexual intercourse with a beautiful alien woman. When he left, she pointed at her stomach at him and then at the sky, implying she would have this child somewhere in outer space. You with me on this, Brad?
Kind of, yeah.
All right, we'll continue. In the 1980s, alien abduction researchers in the U.S. accepted that women are routinely abducted, impregnated, and then re-abducted a few weeks later for the extraction of the hybrid fetus. These activities explained the short-lived pregnancies experienced by female abductees. As for male abductees, this is about to get saucy, Brad.
Okay.
They either claim to have had intercourse with an alien woman or their sperm was extracted by mechanical means by the aliens. In this article, they did mention the anal probe, but I did not include the details on that in the story. I was not comfortable talking about anal probes.
Fair enough.
They got kind of graphic. More recently, in the documentary Love and Saucers, this is the story that we were talking about, New York artist David Huggins confessed that when he was 17, he lost his virginity to a female extraterrestrial, and for nearly 60 years, he had regular sex with Crescent, and she even gave birth to an alien child as an outcome of their otherworldly intercourse. Let's see. Also included in the book is the story of the late Dr. Carla Turner, who accused the aliens of the literal and physical sexual violation of their powerless human victims. Turner claimed deception was often used by the aliens to make the abductee a willing sexual partner. The alien might take the form of an abductee's spouse. That'd be weird. Or disguise itself as a celebrity that the abductee was known to find attractive. Now, I want to clarify real quick that I'm not making light of this situation. It sounds like I'm making fun of it, but I'm not, because this is kind of a serious issue. Like, if you were to be the victim of something like that, it would be a very serious thing. And especially in the climate that we live in, I'm not making light of any kind of sexual misconduct or abuse. Just wanted to clarify that. Other abductees say that the sex with an alien entity is the most pleasurable they've ever experienced, that the erotic thrills go way beyond what happens with a human partner. Skeptics claim these experiences are likely to be the product of sleep paralysis, where people are unable to discern the difference between fantasy and reality during the period between sleeping and waking. Timothy Green Beckley, editor of this book called Screwed by the Aliens, says he's open-minded about the subject and says, as you turn the pages, you will see that we have approached the sexual nature of UFOs, their alien occupants, and the reproduction process of the ultra-terrestrials with an open mind. So there you go. That's the synopsis of the article from metro.co.uk. And as always, we'll have the link in the show notes of the podcast. Because I know people make fun of stories like this, right, Brad?
They do. And, it's... It's a serious topic. Something happened. And whether it's aliens or not, non-consensual, anything is non-consensual.
Yeah,
regardless.
I felt bad because I started out with kind of a lighthearted way of introducing the story. And then the more I talked about it, the more I thought, you know what? I'm being kind of an insensitive jerk on this. So I had to clarify that I was not making fun of anything, because I know sexual abuse, sexual misconduct is a very serious situation. And if this happened to somebody for real, that's a very serious situation. So I'm not making light of it, I promise.
I hear you.
All right. So I would love to, you know what? Let's get the listeners involved with this. aliens@gncasts.com, aliens@gncasts.com. Let us know if what you think of this story, if you think these things are real, if they're actually having sexual intercourse with aliens, or it's just how they described it, sleep deprivation or something else. Let us know what you think and your theories on it. Do you have any final thoughts on this story?
I do not.
All right, let's move on then. Hang on. All right. That works a lot better than stopping it every time. All right. So, Mr. Brad, you have the next story. What do you got?
I do, and we are going to be talking about exoplanets.
Oh, yay! It's your thing. It's your jam.
It is my jam. Because if we were going to find habitable worlds, either for us or to discover other aliens, this is where it's at. And it's really exciting that we've got a brand new satellite that's been launched, and another one's going to be launched within the next year or two, the James Webb. I keep wanting to say the George Webb, but that is a restaurant chain in the Milwaukee region of Wisconsin.
Oh, I didn't know that.
While they have tasty breakfast foods, they do not search the stars for exoplanets.
They could if they wanted to.
They could, but I doubt that they would come up with usable data.
All you have to do is pop a little dish on top of their locations and, network them together and bam.
It could be done. Yeah. All right, here we go. NASA's new planet hunter just found the first alien world, an evaporating super Earth. NASA's newest planet hunting mission has reported detecting its first alien world, a super Earth that is likely evaporating under the heat of its star, this study finds. Now, the TESS satellite, the Transiting Exoplanet Survey satellite, was launched on top of an SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket April 18th. And they've got it all up and running. It's passed all of its tests, and it's been scouring the stars. And they found a planet around the star Pi Mensa, also known as HD 39091, which is located about 59.5 light years from Earth in the constellation Mensa, the table. Pi Mensa is a yellow dwarf star like our sun and the second brightest among stars known to be to have transiting exoplanets. Now, previous research has already spotted a gas giant around Pi Mensa that is 10 times more massive than Jupiter.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
Wow.
Jupiter's a huge planet. Now imagine that times 10. That's a lot of Earths that you could fit inside of that. That exoplanet is named Pi Mensa B, and it has a very oval-shaped eccentric orbit that carries it up to 3 astronomical units from its star. Now, an astronomical unit is a unit of measurement between Earth and our sun, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this goes out to 3 astronomical units. So to the sun and back to Earth 3 times is the furthest distance that this orbit goes out to. Now, the exact measurement between the Earth and the sun is about 93 million miles or 150 million kilometers. Now, scientists have detected a new world with the TESS satellite around Pi Mensa, which is 2.14 times Earth's diameter and 4.82 times Earth's mass. This super Earth has been dubbed Pi Mensa C, and it orbits about 0.07 astronomical units from its star, which is more than 50 times closer than Mercury is to our sun.
Man.
So this massive planet is even closer to its sun than Mercury is to our sun.
Is the sun, is the star a cooler star than ours?
No, it's a yellow. It's a yellow sun like ours.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, okay. And this, so this super Earth is about somewhere between 2 to 10 Earth masses. Okay. Now, Pymensis C is a super Earth, a class of planets slightly larger and more massive than our own world. The density of Pymensis C is consistent with a picture where the entire planet is made of water. That's what lead author Chelsea Huang from MIT told space.com, which is where this story comes from. However, she's quoted as saying, it is more likely to have a rocky core and an extended atmosphere made of hydrogen and helium. We also think this planet might be evaporating right now, given the intense irradiation it gets from its host star. Now, future research can investigate the odd configuration of Pymensis' two known planets. The oval-shaped orbit of the Jupiter-like Pymensa B is very different than our own circular orbit of Jupiter. Now, this suggests that something may have happened in that solar system's history for this planet to be kicked out that far in its orbit. So maybe a planet exploded, maybe a wandering exoplanet came by and goofed up the orbit. They're still investigating. So the big question is, how did this inner system survive if it's that far out of whack? And they're, like I said, they're still investigating, and they should, they want to get to the bottom of this. Now, the TESS satellite system here follows in the footsteps of the Kepler Space Telescope, which has discovered about 70% of the 3,800 known exoplanets to date, also using the transit method. The transit method is they focus on a star, and if that star dims and then brightens, they look into it, and that dimming and that brightening usually means that a planet is transiting or moving in front of it from obscuring its Earth's view of that star briefly. That's what a transit is. So let's see. So they reported their findings in a paper that was released Sunday, September 16th, which was submitted to the Astrophysical Journal Letters. And we have a link here for you to actually read that paper.
All right.
So there you go. Exoplanet boiling away, larger than Earth, mostly water, rocky core, very thick atmosphere.
The more that we report on these exoplanets, the stranger I realize the galaxy and the universe is. Because when you think that you've heard the strangest possible configuration for one of these worlds, something like this comes along and you're like, how the hell is that working? I don't know. Weird.
Yep.
Just think if we could go out there and explore this stuff in person. You'd be like, I think what we see like on a show like Star Trek would not even come close to what you would actually see if you could explore the galaxy like they do. Like,
yeah, and this one is only 59, well, just under, or around 60 light years away. So if we could travel at the speed of light for 60 years, we could be there.
All right.
And we could investigate in person.
Let's go.
Yeah. Someday.
All right. Let's move on to our sighting for the week. And this one sounds really interesting. And it's funny that I would pick something from North Carolina, given the recent weather situation there. Brad, it was this hurricane that ripped through. It was the wettest in respect to water.
Water. Yep. Yeah. I've heard a rumor.
Yep. All right. So an alleged UFO sighting was recently reported in Charlotte, North Carolina, or near Charlotte, via a Facebook post. And in this case, it was posted by a husband and a father who says he doesn't necessarily believe in UFOs. And what's cool is the story came from the Charlotte Observer. So it's not like a weird UFO site. This is like a legit, like in your face, a legit newspaper. So gives a little bit more credence to the story. Javion Hill, 35, of Kings Mountain, North Carolina, says he took several photos of the object during a storm on the night of August 18th as he drove on U.S. Highway 74 southwest of Charlotte. The images feature something square hovering above the tree line with its edges fringed in lights. Hill told the Charlotte Observer the craft frightened him to the point he didn't sleep that night. And here's his explanation on how it went down. I was on my way home with my wife on the speakerphone. Hey, he's a poet. Doesn't even know it.
Doesn't even know it.
And it looked like there was a tornado coming. So I was trying to take a picture of the clouds for my wife, says Hill. But then I saw something that wasn't normal. And I was like, oh my God, what is that? And I started trying to take as many pictures of it as possible while he was driving. Not safe, dude. Pull over if you want to do that kind of stuff.
True.
He pulled over at the next exit to try to get video, but the aircraft had vanished by that point. A heavy rain followed instantly, he said. Hill says it's possible what he saw was a military craft because there are quite a few military bases in North Carolina. Conspiracy theorists maintain many UFO sightings in the region are actually an experimental military craft known as the TR-3B. I've never heard of that. An anti-gravity craft that hovers, and some believe the craft is from one of the state's military bases, Fort Bragg, Pope Field, and Camp Lejeune. I was stationed at Fort Bragg.
Oh, hey, there you go.
It's in Fayetteville. They got some pretty rough goings there right now. Let's see. Shelby, North Carolina native Eric White. See, this gives some more credence. Another guy saw this very same thing that night. He said that it vanished in thin air. He claims what he saw is actually bigger. This original guy says he claims what he saw is actually bigger than what is seen in the photo. I was worried for my safety, he said. I didn't believe in UFOs until that moment. Now, there's a picture that I have embedded on our show doc. Would you be able to screen cap that for our YouTube viewers, Brad?
Yeah, give me just a sec here.
Because I have a theory as to what this is.
Okay, let me do the screen. Oh, come on. And there, my monitor is really kind of goofy. There we go. So there it is. Here is the picture in question.
You want to describe it? You're
yeah,
good with this kind of stuff.
It's a picture taken at, I'd say, late dusk, early evening. There's just a little bit of light on the horizon. It is a picture of somebody. They're taking a picture across a road. Kind of off to the lower left-hand corner is a gas station, and it's along a highway that's a fairly well-traveled highway, I would say. It is definitely a rainy evening. You can see some moisture on the lens, or if it's a picture taken through somebody's windshield, there's some water droplets on the windshield. But up towards the top of this picture is it looks like if you were to take let's say a square with rounded corners, or maybe even a rectangle with rounded corners, but think of the edges of this thin square that I'm speaking of, or thin rounded cornered rectangle, and it has a bar of light around that rim of that thin rectangle or square with rounded corners. So there you go.
Right. Thank you. Great explanation of that, Brad. My theory, I have a couple of theories.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not poo-pooing what they think they saw, because they were there, I wasn't. But this kind of looks like it could be either a reflection from something inside the vehicle reflecting onto the windshield,
Mhm.
or the lights from that gas station. It almost has the same shape as that, just turned another way. Do you see it? Do you see what I'm talking about?
Yeah, sorta. Yeah.
Again, I'm not.
But they're like turned like they're turned like 90 degrees from each other,
Yeah, but
which is really weird.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's some weird anomaly where a
E-
reflection ended up reflecting off the clouds, but then it got turned around somehow. I don't.
Sure. Yeah, it's possible, especially with it raining like that. I mean, that's obviously how we see rainbows. So, I mean, it does affect the light. So,
All right. All right. Cool. So if you have seen anything that you think may have been an extraterrestrial craft, let us know. Reach out to us. Reach out and touch us via your email, aliens@gncasts.com. You can also leave a voicemail, 805-328-3966, or jump onto our website, gncasts.com, and leave a voice message via SpeakPipe. All right. Remember last time I said that my power cord was not charging my Mac?
yes.
I got a replacement from eBay, or
Hmm.
not eBay, but Amazon, thinking I'd save some money if I got a non-Mac charger. But for some reason, I bring it down to this office space that I have. It's not charging. So we have 14% on my battery. So let's try to make this real quick.
Let's speed it up.
All right. All right. Sightings time. These are things that we watched, listened to, read, played, whatever, somehow related to extraterrestrials and aliens. And Brad, looks like you are going to go first.
I am. And what I am going to be talking about is actually something that I've talked about before. Nessa and I recently rewatched The History of Future Folk, which is available on Amazon Prime. Excuse me. So, just kind of as an overview, there is a musical duo. They are called Future Folk, and there are a couple of guys who started around college doing this concept band. One person plays the guitar, the other person plays the banjo. And I don't want to say it's a gimmick, but part of their act is they're from a planet called Hondo. And the original concept is that they're from the future, from this planet Hondo, and one of the General Treyas, the gentleman who plays the banjo, came to Earth to basically destroy the Earth because the Earth is going to destroy Hondo in the future. So he's come back in time to destroy Earth so that Earth does not destroy Hondo in the future.
That's weird.
It is very weird, but they are very talented musicians who have written songs about Hondo and about space, and they are entertaining, well written, and they have amazing voices. Jay Kleitz, who plays the mighty Kevin. There's General Treyas, and then there's the mighty Kevin. He is currently on Broadway doing it's a play called Getting the Band Back Together. And that man has a powerful voice. It's amazing. And he also, if you watched Jessica Jones season 2, he played the Wizard.
Huh.
That is that same actor. And he's appeared in a number of, it's had a number of other parts and other performances, other TV and movie and Broadway productions. Now, the other person who has an amazing voice as well, he's the gentleman who plays General Treyas, who plays the banjo. He does marketing. He's a commercial designer and he does marketing. And in his kind of free time, he plays the banjo. Anyways, they got the funding to do a independent film called The History of Future Folk. They tweaked the concept because it's kind of convoluted from their music act, and they wanted to kind of streamline it but still make it make sense in a movie. And it's a great movie. It's hour and 45 minutes, well worth the watch. It's funny, it's heartwarming, a lot of ups and downs. And one of the songs from their album, their first album, and it appears in the movie, is Over the Moon. And Over the Moon was our first dance song at our wedding reception.
Oh, that's sweet.
It's a very, very sweet song. Absolutely beautiful. And I recently tweeted, because I'm Facebook friends with Jake Lights, and he like responded back saying, "Oh, that's really sweet." And then Anessa recently posted on, I think it was on, mine was on Facebook, because Jake Lights is very active on Facebook. The other gentleman, Nils Odelaire, is very active on Twitter. And Anessa posted something to that effect. And he replied, "Hondo," which is like the greeting. It's kind of like aloha.
Okay.
The name of the planet is like their greeting, Hondo. So he replied Hondo, and then he took her tweet, retweeted it, and then commented, "Hey, we've seen a number of people saying that Over the Moon is used either in the ceremony or in their reception at some point in their wedding proceedings, and we expect to see maybe more bucketheads," which are fans of the show. They actually wear some of the costume. They actually have costumes, and they're basically like red buckets, are essentially the helmet, as it were. And he's like, "We expect to see new bucketheads within a year or two," implying that there's going to be some action resulting in babies.
Oh, okay. I see.
And more fans will be produced.
You guys are into some weird stuff.
It when I describe it, yeah, it's weird. But when you actually watch this, it's a very touching love story for all intents and purposes, because it really focuses on two characters in particular, and the music that's involved. And Over the Moon is an absolutely beautiful love song. So think of it what you will.
I'm not judging. I'm just saying
it's different.
From an outsider's point of view, it's a little bit strange.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Give you that.
Different strokes for different folks, though.
True that.
Have at her. Don't have any more metaphors. I don't know. Okay.
So there you go. The History of Future Folk is my pick for a second time, but with the update of, we actually got communication back from the two gentlemen who are future folk.
Yeah, you've added on to the future folk story. That's cool.
And they've become a part of ours.
Yes. Oh, okay.
So there you go.
It's enough cuteness for now. Okay. Aliens gonna eat.
Yeah.
All right. So my pick this week. Oh, how many flying saucers are you gonna give that bad?
Oh, 5.
Okay. All right. 5 out of 5. 5 by 5.
Boom.
All right, my pick this week is the reboot of In Search Of. It's finally here. It premiered last week here in Canada. It's on the History Channel. I don't know where it's available in the States. I know here, though, it's on History. So I thought it was, when this story broke, that Zachary Quinto was going to host. It's perfect because he played Spock in Star Trek, originally done by Leonard Nimoy, who was the original host of In Search of. So it's all coming together, baby. So the first episode is just titled Aliens. I thought that was the perfect first episode to kick off the new In Search of. Host Zachary Quinto sets out to discover whether aliens exist and what evidence we have to prove it. And it's kind of funny because at every turn, there's I'm trying to explain exactly. I'll just continue on the description. He meets with several who say they have encountered extraterrestrial life, a man who's been abducted by aliens several times since childhood, a man who claims to have extracted an alien implant, and a woman who shows Zachary what it feels like to be abducted into a spacecraft, which is cool because he starts out floating in a body of water, and he's attached to these this harness, and he gets raised up into the sky in this room, and there's light. He gets raised toward a light, and he said it totally feels like you are floating, or you're being being brought up like through some kind of tractor beam. It's really that part of this episode I thought was the best part, because I've seen all this other stuff before. There's been a billion alien related shows since In Search of was on the air back in the 70s and 80s. So they're basically just retreading the same themes, just through different people and different stories. But the other cool thing about this episode, he also meets with the world's leading scientist at SETI in Green Banks, West Virginia. He gets to go up on top of this big radio telescope. It's way, way, way up in the air. And then they utilize it. They search for the sky. They search a section of the sky, and they get the results back at the end, and nothing out of the ordinary was picked up, which was unfortunate. And it seems like every single aspect of this episode didn't prove that aliens existed. Like the guy that said he'd been abducted several times got put under hypnosis. Not him. No, he went through a lie detector test, and the results were he's lying. And then the guy with the implant had it tested, and the test came back negative, that it was just a normal piece of metal. So all these things kind of disproved that there is aliens, at least in these cases. But Zachary Quinto left it on a positive note that these aren't definitive. This isn't definitive proof that aliens don't exist. There could be real proof out there. So I highly recommend In Search of. Next week, they're on the second episode, that is, they're going to be discussing superhuman stuff. So it's kind of neat that because he actually kind of explains at the very beginning of the show that he's played characters with involving this kind of stuff in the past, like Spock's an alien, and then he played kind of a superhero type guy on Heroes, right? He had
Yep.
Although he was a villain.
He was a villain.
He had superpowers. So next, this episode 2 of the first season is going to be talking about possible superpowers, real superpowers in people. So there you go. I'm going to give it 5 out of 5.
Nice.
So both our picks scored high this week.
Boom.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. That was preemptive. You can check out the links in the show notes, and you can pick up or get our picks. What I'm trying to say. We have links to our picks in the show notes, so you can check them out for yourself. Now I can do it. All right. So that's going to do it for this episode of the Alien Invasion Podcast, a production of the Galactic Network. If you'd like to read more about the stories that we covered on this episode, click the links in the show notes, like I just said. We'd like to thank Monkey Warhol for providing our intro music, a song called Alien Syndrome. You can find out about it and other music that Monkey does at monkeywarhol.bandcamp.com. Also, thanks to Retward van Durnberg, a composer from Germany, for our closing song, which is titled Be Water. Learn more about him and his music at thecaravel.net. That's THECARAVEL.net. And finally, thanks to Ben Olson.
Thanks, Ben.
And he is the guy that recorded the disclaimer audio at the very start of this episode. You can find out more about what he does at benolson.com. Thanks for joining us this time around. On our next episode, we'll review the 1985 movie Life Force, starring Patrick Stewart. This is Brad's suggestion. Brad, if you want to play along with us, watch Life Force for this next episode, and then you can review it with us. It's Patrick Stewart with hair. It's weird. So looking forward to that. Okay. Final thoughts before we go, Brad. What do you got? Nothing? Anything? Something?
I'm seeing a lot of people upset that Brie Larson isn't smiling enough in the trailer.
Shut up!
I know. That's what I said.
The internet is just a bunch of misogynistic bastards.
That's basically what I said, but not quite as elegantly.
Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening and watching this time around. We'll talk to you next time.
Okay, bye.
Hang on one second. Let me stop this. All right. And then I'm going to close out. Hang on. Let me save this before we do anything. Save project as number 248. Number 248. All right. All right. Let me stop this.